The member for Blair.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Home Affairs. I refer to concerns raised in the media today relating to the Minister's use of his ministerial discretion to grant a tourist visa to an au pair. Was his decision based on departmental advice? If not, what prompted the Minister to intervene? And will the Minister undertake to provide the opposition with a departmental briefing at the earliest opportunity so the facts can be made clear?
This time has concluded. The Minister has the call.
Well, Mr Speaker, I thank the honourable member for his question. At last, a question from the member for Blair. Well done, finding away in tactics each day. Finally, you've risen to the top of the pile. 3:06, you've missed out on television, but nonetheless, let's throw the dog a bone, I guess. Now, Mr Speaker, there are media reports around today which talk about a decision that I made in relation to a visa. There are defamatory parts of that, which I'm going to address with the journalist. Our family does not employ an au pair. My wife takes very good care, in my absence I might say, of our 3 children. We have never employed an au pair. I've instructed before that journalist that that story is completely false, and yet it still continues to be published. Now, Mr Speaker, in relation to the matter otherwise, and I'll release more detail as I'm putting it together at the moment, because as I say, it is defamatory, and I won't tolerate it being printed again. I make decisions I won't. No, I won't have my family.
Members on my left.
I won't have details, false details, Mr Speaker, as the Leader of the Opposition would appreciate as well. I won't have false details about my wife and my children printed, and I won't stand for it. That's the reality, Mr Speaker. Now, Mr Speaker, I make hundreds of decisions each year in relation to ministerial discretion under the Migration Act, as has been the case with many ministers past. There are cases that are brought to me by members on the front bench on a regular basis. I see them nodding there, members of this parliament, in relation to individual cases. I look at the individual circumstances around each matter, and if I determine that there is an interest in me intervening in those cases, I do. And in many cases I look at the particular facts. For example, the Honourable Shadow Treasurer, nodding away, writes to me regularly in relation to matters, and if I deem the circumstances to be appropriate, I intervene. In relation to this particular matter, and again I'm happy to release further detail, as I was advised at the time, there are 2 matters, only one to which you're referring at the moment, but there are 2 matters where there is a young tourist who has come in on a tourist visa and has declared in an interview with the Border Force officers at the airport, as I was advised, that they were here on a tourist visa but they intended to perform babysitting duties whilst they were here. The decision that was taken, I was advised, was that the tourist visas would be cancelled, that those 2 young tourists would be detained and that they would be deported. I looked into the circumstances of those 2 cases and I thought that inappropriate. I thought if they gave an undertaking that they wouldn't work whilst they were here, I would grant the tourist visa, they would stay, which they did. They didn't overstay, they returned back home. Now, if there are facts there that you dispute or you think there's some other scurrilous point that you want to put it outside of this chamber.